This is Success Without Stress with Bob Roth on Sirius XM Indy 104.
This is Success Without Stress with Bob Roth, and my guest today is Jerry Seinfeld. And you know, you always say a person who doesn't need any introduction and then they go on and give an introduction. I'm not going to. But I am going to say that I don't watch television much, but I have seen your Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee multiple times. And I also I don't watch the news, but I do start every morning on jerryseinfeld.com to see those little 10-second, 30-second, 40, 50-second.
Oh,
and,
good. Well,
yeah, and then there's Sam right there, and I call
you.
Sam, and then he sees it. So that's how I start my day.
Well, that's
so
nice. Thank you.
We're ready to rip here.
I'm glad that my products are well received in the Roth house.
They are, very much so. So you've been practicing Transcendental meditation for how long?
Well, 72. So that's 41 years, 42 years. I don't know exactly. It's definitely sometime around 72 or 73. I learned it at Oswego, where I was going to school. I went to State University at Oswego right out of high school, and I don't know how I really got into it. I was pretty investigative person in those days. Still am, I guess. Whenever I hear about something that sounds interesting, I like to explore it, and I've explored a lot of things, different things, and gotten a lot from all of them. But none of them, nothing compares to what the TM has done for me, and especially lately. You know, I'm doing TM. So I start, in school. I learned this thing in college, and you practice twice a day for 20 minutes. And I immediately stopped doing the one in the morning because I didn't get that one. I couldn't understand why you would get out of bed and rest. And then for 40 years, I would just do the one in the afternoon. And that was a very sustaining thing for me in my life. And we can talk about that, what the life of a comedian is like. And also doing the TV show, which was much more challenging. And then a year ago, Bob, I don't remember.
I think it was out in the Hamptons.
Yeah, I met Bob in the Hamptons, but he was at my house. He was teaching my wife, and he started saying, you should do the one in the morning. And I said, yeah, I know you're supposed to do it in the morning, but I never did. And then I started doing the one in the morning and the one in the morning, and that has really, really changed my life in the past. It's a year, right? It was earlier this year. Yeah.
So I need to actually put this in context. This show is called Success Without Stress, and success is a relative term. You know, a person can be successful to get the kids to bed without screaming. Mm-hmm. That's an achievement. They get an A on an exam. They're the head writer and everything of a 9-year iconic television show. The question is, does it have to be stressful? And so this show looks at specifically many different approaches for reducing stress, but the common denominator is meditation, and specifically transcendental meditation. And transcendental meditation is, as Jerry knows, a very simple, natural, effortless technique. It's done 20 minutes twice a day, sitting comfortably in a chair with the eyes closed. It allows your body to take a very profound state of rest, wakes up the mind, very energizing, and away you go. It's not a religion. It's not a philosophy. There's no change in lifestyle. Absolutely documented by an enormous amount of scientific research. This conversation with Jerry is because he has had a very profound effect. TM has had a profound effect, as he said, on his own life. But because of who Jerry is, he's had a very profound effect in bringing people to the practice. Jerry and I were on Good Morning America last year, hosted by George Stephanopoulos, and who is also a meditator. And you gave a great definition of what meditation was.
Yeah, I said that it's like you have a cell phone and then somebody gives you the charger. And you go, oh, now this thing, I can get this thing up to 100 anytime I want.
Yeah, fully juiced.
Yeah,
the power of fully juiced.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very easy for me to talk about TM. The way I look at life, basically, is it's exhausting. And being busy is exhausting. Doing nothing is exhausting. No matter what you do as a human on Earth, it's exhausting. And you need and sleep is a nice rest. Most of us don't get great sleep. Sometimes we do. Now and then, it's very hit and miss. Sleep is hit and miss, and TM is not. So it's this thing that augments your need for rest. And that, I mean, I've always said to people, for the years I would, doing meditation in the middle of the day, and I would always say, to the people that don't do it, I would say, I can't believe you stay up all day.
That's a good,
because I can't do it.
Does it have, is it only physical, the recharging? Do you notice anything with your mind, clarity?
I'm a big exerciser as well. I'm a big gym guy. I love to go. I don't love it, but I just believe in it. And I don't separate the mind and the body as a thing.
Mm-hmm.
If my body's tired, my mind's tired. If my mind's tired, my body's tired. They're all, the neck is really connecting these two things with a big channel of blood. And, there's a lot of exchange between the mind. People say mind and body. And I dismiss that separation completely.
So you meditate now in the morning, and how do you feel, before your morning meditation? Because you had said we had this gala a week or so ago,
Mm-hmm.
and you talked about, at first you were wondering, why should you meditate in the morning? Because why would you want to rest after you?
Yeah, why would you rest after you just got out of bed? But, and I said at the thing, Bob likes this, that if you get up out of your bed and you turn around and you look at it, it doesn't look like what happened in there was very restful. It looks like a war just went on in there. And I bet you if people that do sleep research, and you did a time lapse of someone in bed, you've seen these things. You're rolling around and punching pillows and pulling covers, and half of the time you get up in the middle of the night, right? It's a war. Sleep is a war, And so this thing, your night's sleep, was supposed to be this beautiful, restful. You've seen the Sealy, who is it? Sleepland ad, whatever it is. No one's having this experience, okay?
Oh, yeah, when they're sort of like...
the sleep number bed is always a pretty girl, and, I don't know, she's never got a blanket on her,
No, that's right, she's on her side.
Such phony baloney stuff, of what sleep is supposed to be. So, but what TM is... most comedians love analogies, and me more than any comedian. Chris Rock might be the only comedian I know who's maybe a little better at analogies than I am. He's a great analogizer, and I love to make analogies for everything. A lot of stand-up is analogies. You take a funny situation and you analogize it to something else, and that's a comedic technique. But the phone charger is pretty tough to beat as an analogy, because your phone charger never doesn't work unless it's sometimes you haven't got it all the way in the outlet. You look at it and say, how come it didn't charge? It's always a little out of the outlet, and you go, oh, I didn't push it all the way in, and then it always works. And that's the great thing about TM, is you never have to wonder. Let's say you got a big day, and the night before you think, all right, I'm going to get to sleep early, and I don't want to mess around tonight. I'm not going to watch junk TV. I want to get to sleep. I want to get a good night's sleep. But you're still just kind of hoping. You're hoping that you're going to get it, and that you're going to wake up feeling refreshed. And that's the big difference between sleep and TM, is TM never doesn't work perfect. And so I get up now and I do TM.
What's your schedule like? You generally?
Well, I get up at 6, usually 6 or 6:15 in the morning, because I have kids, and I just like to watch them have breakfast, and because that's just when I think of my childhood, I had breakfast alone most of the time, growing up. And I had kids late. I'm 59. I had kids in my late 40s. So, so this is like a big deal. It's a big deal to anyone that has kids. So it's just one of the things I like to do is I like to just sit there and I get the paper so that they don't notice me staring at them, But I like watching them eat cereal, and I like the little milk dribbling down their chin, and I just like to watch that, and so that's when I get up. So I'll get up at 6. They get up about 6:45, and so I do the TM before anybody gets up. And how does it feel? It doesn't feel like anything. It doesn't do anything. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But here's the difference. At 1 o'clock, at 1 p.m. that day, my head does not hit the desk like it used to. That's the difference. I get up at 6 a.m. Normally, if I didn't do that morning TM, usually, and I sit, and whatever I do, I'll have my breakfast, and then I do different things during the day. But any day, no matter what it is, if I'm working, by 1, I'm shot. And I think most people are. Crazy with the coffee. Speaking of which, I ordered a coffee. Did it come? All right. I just like to drink coffee, help promote my show. So, and now at 1 o'clock, I'm feeling good. And normally I spend a lot of time writing. Being a writer is a big part of being a comedian, and writing is a very, very exhausting activity, as everything is. But and my head, I would literally collapse in the middle of writing, and I would lie on the couch and take a nap or something, or then sometimes I would do my TM like 2, but now I just sail through the day, and then I have my second TM at 3 or 4, and then I'm usually wanting that, and then so it's here's another good analogy, and if Bob hasn't already thought of this, I'll be shocked. It's you're on a road trip, and you got to stop for gas. Have you thought of this one?
No, that's a good one.
Right? You get in the car, you drive in the car, you don't just drive for 10 hours. You drive 3-4 hours and you stop for gas. For the car, for yourself, that break. That little break. And it's just a big thing. So so that's what the morning TM does. Now I'll tell you what happened today, and this is my personal thing that I think that I invented. Probably didn't. Today I got up at 6, and I slept 9 hours last night, okay? So I thought, all right, well, I'm in good shape today. Slept 9 hours. Went to bed at 9. Thought, man, I'm going to catch up on a little rest tonight. Went to bed at 9, got up at 6, and let's see, what time it was about 11:45, I hit the wall this morning. And even though I did my TM at 6, and my thing is, and this is the thing I got from my dad, Cal Seinfeld, and one of his great lines was never argue with the body. And he was a great midday nap guy. He was a salesman, and sometimes we would come home from school, and he would come out of the bedroom in his pajamas. he would just say, I got tired.
You come home with your friends.
Yeah, and my dad would come out of the bedroom in his pajamas. He's like, I got tired. I came home and went to sleep. So that was his thing, never argue with the body, which was a good TM thing.
Yeah.
So I just felt tired. So I didn't even and I was sitting at my desk working. I'm in the middle of work, and I just felt tired. And now, as what I consider myself a TM master, 2 a day, every day, tired is not something I feel. That's not something I tolerate. Tired is wrong. If you're tired, something's wrong. And I just stop. And I go, no. I'm not going to be tired. And I did my TM right there at 11. Just 4 hours after the first one. I'm supposed to do it at like 4 or 5. That's what they tell you to do it. I go, the hell with that. I'm tired. I'm going now. So I just did it. And I might do another one later, but as you can see, I'm quite alert and energized at this moment.
Cal was right. Listen to your body.
He says never argue with the body.
Yeah. Now, I want to just take a moment and just explain, do a little definition of what TM is. As I said, it's a transcendental meditation. It's a simple, natural, effortless technique that allows your active thinking, noisy, active thinking mind, like waves on the surface of the ocean, the noisy, active thinking mind, it allows the mind to just effortlessly settle down, to experience a state of calm and quiet that we all have inside, deep within, but we've lost access to. Like an ocean has waves on the surface and the depth of the ocean is silent. You see the waves, but the silence at the depth of the ocean, equally natural, just lost access. So every human being has a level of the mind deep within that's already quiet. We don't have to muscle it. We don't have to force it. We don't have to believe in it. It's there. And this is a simple, natural, effortless technique that allows anyone to access that at will. As Jerry was saying, much easier to do TM than fall asleep. I mean, falling asleep can be a battle.
Easier.
Much. You do this
Much
every
easier.
time. Absolutely every time. And when your mind settles down, your body gets this very profound state of rest. That deep rest eliminates the buildup of fatigue and stress and tension. And there's hundreds of studies now published in all the top peer-reviewed scientific journals that shows this technique eliminates stress, promotes clarity of thinking, focus, creativity, more energy, and allows a person to be successful in whatever they're doing without, as you said, that stress, which you don't want. You know, it's like
Right.
11:45, no can do, getting rid of that sucker.
How would you like to lose weight? How would you like to lose weight? Here's something Bob has never thought of. He's going to get right onto this as soon as I say it. There's a new book out called, I don't know what it's called. It's something willpower, something about the will. And we're all familiar with this condition. Late at night, not even late at night, 9 to 11:30 p.m. I do this bit in my act about cookies, how cookies wait all day for you to get weak at 9 p.m. They know that there's no, I don't know where the cookies are in the morning. I've never seen them in the morning. I know they must be somewhere, but I never see them. And that somehow between 9 and 11:30 they start appearing, and how they look like they're in military barracks, that the cookie box is like a D-Day beach landing troop carrier, and they're lined up in rows. They're attacking you. And so anyway, this book is about that your willpower, the amount of willpower that you have. Nobody goes berserk eating in the morning. You never wake up in the morning and eat a decent breakfast and then attack a box of brownies. You don't do it. But at night, we all do it. Why? We're tired.
Exactly.
And when you're tired, your willpower goes away. So willpower requires energy. And this is energy. So by increasing your energy level, you increase your willpower, and you are not so weak at night when you're weak. You're tired at night physically. It's the end of the day. But there's like, I bet you they could probably graph it somehow with what happens to your willpower, you know, let's say from 5 p.m. to midnight. You know, by midnight, you're an animal. You know what I mean? And you think it's, well, I'm just, you know, it's night and I'm a devil-may-care kind of person anyway, and there's those donuts and, you know. But a lot of it is actually just pure fatigue. Here's a stand-up bit I used to do. It's one of my favorite bits, and from 20 years ago, and it was about staying up late at night watching TV, and the thought crosses your mind, well, gee, I got to get up in the morning, and that you're like two people. Night guy is like, you know, he's action guy. He's I don't give a damn guy. Now, morning guy, when the alarm goes off, he's got to go to work. But night guy doesn't care about morning guy. Night guy always screws morning guy. Night guy says, I got to party. I got to live. Today was boring and now I'm having a good time. I'm going to watch this stupid movie that I've already seen anyway. Well, what about morning guy? He's got to get up. Screw him. I'm night guy. I got to live now. I live for the moment. And then the alarm goes off in the morning and you go, oh, that night guy, what the hell what is he doing to me? Why didn't he go to bed so I wouldn't feel like this? So that was the bit, and I always love that because it's really true. Night guy always screws morning guy. Because the beginning of the bit was no payments till March. You always see these commercials for products, no payments till March. And you think, oh, March, it'll never be March. But anyway, fatigue, willpower, and, you can actually, if you're not so exhausted at the end of the day at night, you don't have to fight off the cookies. It's easier to fight off the cookies. So that's how, TM, you can lose weight.
So we have to do a break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk just for a moment about what happens in the brain when you get tired, that those parts of impulse control actually shut down. But you're listening to Success Without Stress with Bob Roth on Sirius XM Indy 104.
This is Success Without Stress with Bob Roth on Sirius XM Indy 104.
As the guy just said, this is Success Without Stress with Bob Roth, and my guest today is Jerry Seinfeld. And before we went to this break, Jerry was talking about how those cookies line up in a military and they get you when you're tired.
When you're tired.
We're tired. And the interesting thing is there's a part of the brain called, this will be short, I promise, frontal lobes. It's about the size of your fist. It's right behind your forehead. And that's what makes us a human being. That's the one that's decision, judgment, planning, impulse control. When you're tired, that part of the brain goes offline. So then you're just impulsive action. I just have to have.
Well, where does it go?
It just disconnects. The neural pathways, the connections between the electrical impulses between the front of the brain and the rest of the brain shut down.
Uh-huh.
And so now you don't have impulse control. But a good night's sleep, if you get it, or for sure after 20 minutes of TM, those connections are back online. So now that's why after meditation, you do think a little more clearly. You do have better judgment. A stressed person can't think clearly. A stressed person makes bad decisions, has bad judgment, and that's because this part of the brain isn't functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And meditation strengthens that. So that impulse control, when you're tired, it affects your brain because, as we were saying, there's no difference between mind and body. It's all sort of one.
Mm-hmm.
So how you're feeling if you're tired, it's impacting your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And then your brain says, what the hell? I'm going for those cookies. Or it's the night guy.
Yeah, night guy.
Night guy. Morning guy, it's got a little bit more of the frontal lobes going.
Yeah.
All right. I want to shift gears for a moment and ask you about just more your career. And you one time said that I'd like to ask, what role has luck had in your career? One time you said, I think if people don't think luck had a role in anything in their success, they're dreaming. Has luck had a role or in your...
Well, what is luck?
That's...
You tell me, and then I'll tell you if it had a role.
Perfect storm. Perfect storm. You were talking about Seinfeld. I think you were talking on with Howard Stern, also a meditator. And you said that Seinfeld came along at a time that just everything meshed.
It did. It did.
How so?
Although I would say, just looking at our audience here today, that we're all here today and not at a hospital, and the doctor coming in to tell you, here's the situation, you would feel like you're pretty lucky, So that's a kind of luck.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider that
even more.
Yeah, that's very lucky. I don't know. I don't.
So
I'm just not quite sure what luck is. I mean, things do happen. Sometimes they happen really well.
Right.
And when they do, we think of that as luck. But sometimes we make things happen, and sometimes they don't work out, and we think of that as bad luck. I think it's just a word that we probably made up to cover a lot of things we don't understand.
Don't see, yeah.
But to answer your question in a conventional manner, I would say there was incredible amount of luck, good luck, that I had that made that show what it was. On the other hand, I could argue against that. I could say I'm the one who said to Larry David, you know, when you and I talk, it's really funny. We should write something together. So I did that because when he and I talked and it was funny, I noticed it and I remembered it. And when it was time that opportunity came along, that NBC was interested in me to do a show, I remembered that and I went back to him and I said, what do you say you and I write something? I think we could be funny together. So did I know it would work out as well as it did? Of course not.
No.
But on the other hand, I could again argue the other side. He and I worked ourselves to death. To death. We worked to death. You know, that was what Larry and I did. We did not rest. We did not spare an ounce of effort. We would just order people out of the room. Get out. We're working, you know. And that's why those scripts were as good as they were. Because when they got to that table and those actors got them, they were worked. So is that luck? I don't think so. That wasn't luck. We earned that.
Yeah, I think that there could sometimes people say there was a fortuitous moment, you know, at that time, but you have to work hard. You have to work. I mean, you have to work hard. What role does intuition have? You were talking about, and I'll define intuition, that you have a good sense you had a good sense of your career. You knew when to go to Los Angeles. You knew when to do the Tonight Show. You knew when to, you know, to do a sitcom. And does meditation, clarity of thinking, impact that intuition or that sense or have you always had that?
I think I have a good instinct in general. And, you know, here's the unfortunate thing about, you know, me being a lifelong meditator,
right,
is there's no control group to look at what would have happened if I didn't do it. So I don't know, you know, I don't really know. I do know when you're not at your wit's end, you definitely do better.
Mm-hmm.
But here's my basic thing. And here's another thought I had, because my mind kept going after Bob and I did an event the other day, and I got on stage and talked about some of the things we're talking about today. And I thought, you know, of the things that I love, when I think of the things that I love, more than money, more than love, more than just about anything, I love energy. I love it. And I pursue it, and I want it. I want more of it, and it's just something I want. And I think this is the reason, by the way, that I am so enthusiastic about TM, is because I feel that in my life, that is the thing that I have wanted, is energy. I love, because when you have energy is so much better than money, you know, because you can do things. Money, you just buy things. Money is a form of energy, you know, because it enables things to happen. It's kind of a static energy that you can make. Well, I have money, and then I can buy something, and then I got that thing. I just made something happen. Well, yes, but that's not like creative energy or putting in a phenomenal day's work. To me, is way better than, you know, let's say you come into a little chunk of money you didn't think you were going to get, you know, you just get some dough and you go, hey, that's great. That is great. I think money's great, but energy, physical and mental energy, to me is the greatest riches of human life. And TM is this incredible, it's like a free account of an endless amount of it. So, you know, I'm very enthusiastic about that, because in my life at this point, which, you know, I'll give the basics is I'm 59, I'm 60 as far as I'm concerned. I have a wife, I have 3 kids, and I have basically 2 jobs. I'm a stand-up comedian, I travel and I perform and I write, and I have this show on the internet called Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, which I devote a tremendous amount of energy to. Now, all of those things are gigantic, big things in my life that I care. They're soul things to me. None of them are things that I do just to make a buck. Those are things I do because I'm compelled in life to do them. You know, whether it both of those show business things and my family. So to do them well, to come home from work at 60 goddamn years old, okay, to have worked hard the whole day, and there's 3 little kids running around the house, okay? I'm 60. Okay? That doesn't work. That doesn't work. 60-year-olds are not supposed to be walking into a house with 3 little kids, and I want to play ball, and I need help with my homework, and can we go to the store and get these sneakers, you know? And if you know what you want to say to those things, you want to say yes, yes, and yes to those things. And what do you need to do it? Energy. You need energy. And let's face it, at 6 p.m., if you busted ass that day, you're done. You're toast. So I go, you know what? I got to do my TM. Everybody knows TM. And I said to my daughter the other day, I said, because my daughter, all kids now, they're really overburdened with homework. It's like torture watching what kids go through compared to what we went through being, going through school. If I did an hour of homework a night, never did an hour. I never did an hour. Maybe before a test, you would study an hour, right? And so I said to my daughter, I said, look, when you're 18 and you get out of here, the thing that's going to make you happy is you're going to be able to stop having to hear about TM. And I said, and I don't care, but I am going to browbeat you until you get out of here. Because I watch what she goes through. And to study, I mean, I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what it is to study from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m.
She's 12?
She's 13.
Yeah.
Ugh, I mean, can you imagine how horrible that must be? I say to her, you're crazy to just be doing this. I go, do a TM. Do a TM, then you do some work, and then you go to sleep. And people are stupid, and she knows it. She's learned it, and she knows how it works. The tough part of TM, here's what I would like to know from Bob Roth about TM. This is the greatest, most frustrating thing to me about TM. People learn it, they get it, they have the tool, and then it just kind of falls away from them. And they lose the connection of this is helping me. You know what I mean? This is helping me. People, and I think it is like the car on the highway. You know, you're trying to get somewhere and you're getting drowsy and maybe the car's running out of gas. You think, I can make it. I can make it. I can get there. I don't need to stop. If I stop, then I'll get there 20 minutes later, but I want to get there, you know? And that's stupid thinking. And that's the way she is. She's stupid. She doesn't say, why don't I just stop for 15 minutes and rest? And then I'll be able to. So instead, I see her, she's like this. She's like this. The eyes are closing, the book, the computer, and this is her trying to finish her homework. And I go, you're not even getting anything done. Give up. Go to bed. She says, no. I gotta finish. It's such torture to watch a human being do it.
Well, I mean, as far as kids go, it's true when Sasha does it on her own, she has no support from her other peers at school.
No.
But David Lynch Foundation has provided scholarships for whole schools to meditate. They call it quiet time, where the school begins and ends each day with 10 or 15 minutes of quiet time, and the kids meditate. And then you have that structure, and the whole school is quiet. And it's an astonishing change in the kids themselves, happier, more productive, better test scores, and then school-wide as a whole. So in New York and actually in major cities all over the country and around the world, David Lynch Foundation is providing scholarships and implementing programs in schools because then the kids have the support.
Right.
The other thing that's starting to happen is you're a self-start. I mean, you're your own guy, but we're also Transcendental meditation is being offered as a sort of gold standard of wellness programs. So companies now, again, large companies offering to introduce TM on company time. You learn it on company time. You can practice it on company time. It's even paid for by the company. And so now you have that support because a lot of times, you know, a mom or a dad gets home, they're tired, and the kids at the house is wild. Where do I find time to meditate? Excuses crop up, definitely. But if there's a meditation room in the office, then at 5:30 they go and meditate. Yeah. All these things help support it. That isn't to say that some people, and I know some of the people I taught, your friends, it's sort of faded away. But then I also find, I mean, I've been teaching this for 40 years. Sometimes in a person's life, they said, yeah, I started that thing like 5 years ago. It didn't really, but now I want it. And now something's happened in their life, and now they're serious about it.
Right.
So it varies, but I think the support in society of institutions where you meditate, you know, in a school, the whole school meditates.
Right, right.
One thing that's interesting, I've taught single moms who say, you know, this is going to be great, but when I get home, my kids are never going to let me meditate.
Right. But
then I ask them 2 weeks later, and they say, you know, when I haven't meditated, my kids say, Mommy, have you meditated yet? It's like, they want mom. You know, they don't want the stress from they want mom.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference. I want to comment on one other thing you said about energy, which I thought was great. There's a top guy, hedge fund guy, who said when he thought about TM in terms of time management, he could always find an excuse that he didn't have the time. But as you said, he now looks at it as energy management. And how can he not take 20 minutes? Because for the next 6-8 hours, he's going to have laser energy. You just can't justify. If you only looked at TM as just a way to relax, well, fine, you just sort of kick back. But the research shows so much more. It gives access to that infinite energy you were talking about that lies within every human being, and creativity and intelligence. And I mean, it's the Department of Defense just gave $2.5 million to study the effects of this meditation on these poor men and women who are coming back from combat with post-traumatic stress. Has a broad range of benefits.
Wow, that's great, Bob.
Broad range of benefits. Great. Yeah, I mean, the National Institutes of Health given almost $30 million to study the effects of TM on high blood pressure, #1 killer, because it is more effective at reducing high blood pressure than antihypertensive medication and no side effects.
Hang on 1 second there, because that is a little bit insane what you just said.
I know.
They're giving
only a little bit?
$30 million. They could just give it to you. Give me the $30 million, and you can tell them it works. Okay? We don't need the study. Give me the $30 million.
Yeah. Somehow they're in the business of doing research, but it has helped. Because when I go into a school or I go into a business and they say, show me the data, you know, like people say.
But the data exists already.
I know. But no, and the thing is, you do it in a school in San Francisco, and then they say, well, I got to do the research on the school in Washington, D.C. Everybody's got to research it for their own people.
Oh, people are so stupid.
This is Bob Roth, and you're listening to Sirius XM.
Success without stress.
Success without. I did not do that. Success without stress, and I'm with Jerry Seinfeld. And I have to tell you, one of the nicest experiences I had was meditating with your whole family. Remember when we did that in the living room? Yeah. Yeah, with you have 2 young boys and Sasha, young daughter, and your wife, and that was great. That was like a little Seinfeld family meditation.
Yeah, it was fun. So now, when I walk in the door, you could train people. You know, Dad's got to do his TM. You want to do this? Yeah, I'm gonna do TM first. TM. I told them, look, I'm gonna annoy you with this. You're never gonna stop hearing about it. And I have become somewhat annoying, I think, to people.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you tell people?
I can't not. I make people I know that are in my life that I work with or something. I just can't. I'm kind of a compulsive helper, you know, and I just say, you got to have this, you know. The thing about, you know, and people who are exercise, you could say almost all these things, you could almost apply the same things to exercise. All this exercise has all these benefits. We all know it. But exercise requires a bigger confront to get your ass up and do it, and however you got to do it. You go to the gym, whatever it is. The TM, you're just going to sit in a chair. How hard is that to just sit down in a chair? And I'll do it, I'll go right over, see like with these people sitting over there. I'll sit in that if I need it, and I'll just go right over there and do it. Nobody, especially in New York, nobody, what's that guy doing in that chair with his head down and his eyes closed? And so I'll just do it. And, what was the thought there? About, it's really a nice thing. I would say the closest analogy I could find to this would be if I said to you, look, at 5, you're going to take a warm bath. That's part of our company rules. Everybody takes a warm bath at 5. You might say, I don't really feel like that. I don't normally take warm baths. Well, that's what we do at this company. We take warm baths at 5. We're going to give you your own nice clean bathroom. I guarantee you by the second day, you're going to go, well, hey, it's almost 5. Let's take that warm bath. And that's what TM feels like.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. You're just going to sit down and we're just going to slide into that bath. And that 20 minutes is going to go by like that. And you're going to be a different person when you're done. You're just going to be different.
A lot of people with the word meditation, there's a lot of misunderstandings. There's like a Zen meditation or a mindfulness meditation, and those can be very difficult. People say to me, well, I could never meditate even if I wanted to. I can't clear my mind of thoughts. I can't do that. So what do you say when someone says that?
I say, here, well, first of all, that's what's great about TM is like, we'll take all the thoughts you've got,
Right. Bring them on.
Yeah. Here's the way I look at it. It's like, here's another analogy. I'm glad I mentioned the thing about comedians and their analogies. We love to do them. So here's a guy, you meet a guy, and he's stressed out, right? Freaked out, nervous, tense, upset. Okay, forget meditation. You say to this guy, okay, here's what I want you to do. Put on your running shorts, your running shoes. We're going to go out into the track. I want you to start jogging around the track. How long? Just keep going. I'll tell you when you're done. So you put this guy out on the track, right? Stressed, freaked out. He's in a panic state, right? Guy goes 2 laps, 3 laps, 4 laps, 10 laps. After a while, this guy's we're going to break him down, right? After 4 or 5 miles, he's going to be a different guy, right? Just from that activity. TM does this with your mind. It's taking your brain and you're going, well, I got this problem. And this is what's going on in your brain. I got to deal with it. I can't believe people would say that to me. And I'm not going to take that. And I'm going to go in their office tomorrow. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. So you're taking your mind and you put it in a little hamster wheel. And it's like Muhammad Ali, Thrill in Manila. Was that the Foreman fight?
Yeah.
The rope-a-dope.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing with your mind. Yeah, just keep hitting me. Keep hitting me. And by the end, George Foreman, I'm sure, was upset that he lost, but I bet you he was very relaxed at the end of that fight because he just punched himself out. And that's what TM does with your mind. Go ahead. Give me everything you got. And it just takes the fight out of it. And and by the end, it's like, all right, I'm not so upset I'm not as upset about that as I thought. I don't do therapy. I think people probably get a lot of that from psychotherapy. They kind of talk themselves out in a way, although I think I would find that more stressful. But anyway, TM has this thing of if your mind feels energized and stressed out and freaked out, it's like, okay, we're going to start running it around a track now. Think all the thoughts you want, until they just kind of, the pool just stops, it gets calm. I don't really know how it works. I don't think anybody really knows exactly how it works. The great thing about it is that we know that it does work.
When you learn to meditate, it's taught in personal instruction, 1-to-1 with a trained teacher. and you receive a mantra, which is a sound, couple syllables, no meaning. It's been used for thousands of years for meditation. And you're taught how to use it properly so that your mind just does settle down without any fight, any resistance. Anyone can do it. Absolutely everyone can learn it. We have to go to a commercial break. This is Success Without Stress on Sirius XM Indy 104.
You're listening to Success Without Stress with Bob Roth on Sirius XM Indy 104.
I am Bob Roth. This is Success Without Stress, to repeat that. And I'm here with Jerry Seinfeld. And
Two greatest TMs. First of all, they're all great. But the two greatest TMs, TM before exercise, for you exercisers out there, insane what it does for your exercise experience. And TM before stand-up, if you happen to be a professional stand-up comic or an aspiring stand-up comedian, stand-up comedy is an extremely exhausting as physical, mental activity. And to have that tool of doing TM before you do your set, you're going to be a different dude up there. You're just like, just kind of, you're in that place in your mind that you want to be, where in all things, you want to be relaxed, you want to have energy. In all things, especially sports, but especially performing, because that's a great performance from anybody, whether it's a singer, an actor, a comedian, anything. It's got energy and it's relaxed and easy. We don't want to see somebody, stressed. We want to see somebody confident and smooth. And most importantly, they seem to know what they're doing. That's the first thing an audience wants to feel when someone gets up on a stage. Does this person know what they're doing?
Yeah.
Because if they do, then I can relax. And when you're trying to elicit laughter, they have to be relaxed. If they're worried about you, the laughs are harder to get. If they feel like, okay, he seems like he's okay, So stand up before TM before stand up is gold. It's a golden thing to have. The ultimate. Plus, you're traveling and you're doing interviews, and it's the airport. Stand up is so tiring. So I recommend it highly for anyone, but for the stand up comedian, See, now a guy like me, again, 60 years old, really should be running out of gas at this point in my career. And because what you got to do when you're stand-up, I was at Foxwoods this weekend, it's 4,000 people. I got to physically move these people. I got to move them, with voice and physical gesture, facially, your expressions, your energy, your mental focus, the whole thing. I gotta push this mass of meat. That's what it is. It's just a load of meat out there, And you got to have energy. And I know a lot of guys. Look, all the guys I started out with, they're all my age, and it does start to fall off, and they can't do it. They can't do it because it's a physical. Stand-up is a physical act. Stand-up is, stand-up is a physical challenge. It is a mental challenge, but equally physical. And when you're young, of course, it's a breeze because you're blessed with youth. The ultimate weapon is youth in life. But then, we all obviously lose that as we go. But this is the ultimate way to fight it off or to extend your vital period of your life as long as you can.
Questions?
Yes, it's Biff Lawson from the Bronx. My question is the TM we're discussing today the same as the Maharishi era TM? Because those TM instructional things that they have on YouTube and you read about, they require you to get into this yoga position that I can never do. I can never cross my legs and hold my head up long enough. So is it like an involving practice or is there a difference?
meditation is a generic term, and there's all sorts of crazy things done in the name of meditation. Transcendental meditation is the most researched and sort of gold standard. In that meditation, you don't sit legs pretzel position. You don't have to do anything. It's just done. It looks just like this.
Yeah, if I was going to meditate right now, here's what I would do. I would sit straight. I'm good to go.
He's just sitting
That's
comfortably. Jerry's sitting comfortably in a chair.
Yeah.
His feet are on the ground.
Yeah, that's all I would do is uncross my legs. I'm good to go.
But you can go to tm.org. Anybody can go to It's a nonprofit educational organization. You go to tm.org. You can find out everything about it. But it's not that sort of crazy stuff online. Yeah, neither could I. Yeah. Nor would I want to.
Sam Katz from Bedford Hills, New York. Are there certain specific elements that occur in every single successful joke?
Yes. The specific element that occurs in every single successful joke is surprise. Surprise. A line of logic is going one way, and then it doesn't. I call it making nonsense. Go, that doesn't make any sense, but I get it. That's the words that people use to describe a joke. I got it. You know, they say, I got it. Well, what did you get? I got from here to there, even though it doesn't, it doesn't need to make sense. I mean, we can talk about any joke you want. Night guy always screws morning guy, to go back to what we were talking about earlier. Well, what does that mean? I'm two people? I'm not two people. I'm one person. But for a split second, when I say that, because I'm going to title the two different yous, you'll buy it. And in that moment, you'll laugh. But then your brain you'll have the laugh, which is the goal. But then your brain will go, well, that's not really true. And then the laugh's over. You know, there's no two people. I'm one body. So, but in that moment of surprise, you're going, hey, I get that. And it doesn't make sense, but it does. So that's every successful joke has that in it.
Unfortunately, we have to stop. We have gone over. Yeah. I mean,
let's take a couple more questions.
All right.
Just a couple more.
We're going to do a couple more questions.
Barry Scher from Florida. Is life funny and you're just pointing out the humor? Or is it that life is boring and exhausting and you're just making it seem funny?
Life is funny and I'm just pointing it out. And you're perceiving it, but if you didn't perceive it, I couldn't get you to relate to it. Like, you've already perceived that night guy and morning guy is true, but you just never articulated it. I put it in a way that you go, oh, he described something that I'm aware of, but I never put words to. So I find things that you've thought of, but that you're aware of, but haven't really analyzed. And that's the whole act. That's the whole gig, is I'm exploring your mind. I know what you've experienced because we all experience the same things. Now, I don't know exactly, and that's why there's a lot of experimentation to find jokes. I gotta do 10 things before I find the one that makes you laugh, and then that's the one that stays in, the other 9 go. So stand-up is a very scientific and very exhaustive study of the human experience. But what you do find is that we all pretty much have the same things, but they don't all make you laugh. Everything I think I've ever written is funny, but it just doesn't make you laugh. So stand-up is, I put 500 things in the hopper, and 25 of them are going to work, and you're not going to hear about that other 475. People say, oh, everything you say is funny. No, I don't say the other things.
One more question. Anybody?
Hi, Jerry. I want to ask you the question about, after doing TM, how does your your jokes, the quality of your jokes, the pure creativity of the jokes you come up with, how has that changed over time?
They don't. I don't think it has any effect on that. I don't really. I don't really think of TM in terms of creativity, although I know they talk about that a lot. In my profession, I was talking to these fellas here who do stand up. If you want to be funny, you've got to have energy. Energy sells jokes. All sales requires energy, but stand-up is a hard sell. I'm selling you something you don't even need, you know. So to get that product that I want to get from you, which is that laugh, I've got to push you. I got to push you. So there's an actual aggression aspect to stand-up, where it's just like I got to step into your space, and I do it with my voice and with it's a martial art. It's voice, it's action, it's gesture, and everything is synchronized to land on that point. You ever watch these karate guys? They hit that brick. It's a perfect arrow that hits that target, and it's perfect, it's a concentration of energy, and that's what elicits the laugh. I mean, we don't really know exactly what's happening, but that technique is something every comedian masters. It's very similar to martial art.
Is it last question, is it a blissful experience when you have that connection with the audience?
Not for me, no. It's no, it's more martial.
It is.
It's like it's you against me and I'm going to win. I don't always win, but I'm coming out there to win. Because the odds are against it.
Yeah.
The odds are against it. You know, it's like making people laugh is like, it's not real. How's that going to happen? You know, it's kind of it's a magic act. So, and then I get into my sports analogies. Like baseball, you're trying to eliminate variables. You know, a hitter is trying to eliminate the variables, trying to guess what this pitcher's going to throw. If I guess right, my odds of getting a hit go up. If it's only 5 or 10%, I'm taking that. I need that. I'm going to take my best joke and I'm going to put it at the front of the set because that's the hardest laugh to get is the first one. And so I'm going, and the first thing I want to do is I want you to have confidence in me. Well, how am I going to do that? I'm going to take the joke that fails the least amount of time, and I'm going to put that at the front of the set. It's just it's scientific technique. Because if I get if the first thing I say gets a laugh, at that moment, 100% of everything I've said gets a laugh. Yeah. Now I've got your confidence. Okay? Now I've got your confidence. So that's going to make the second laugh much easier to get. So the second joke doesn't even have to be that good. Now I've gotten 2 laughs, but let's reverse it, okay? I go out, my first joke is a joke that works 50% of the time. This is like, I always wanted to teach comedy and you can't teach it. But if I would, these are the things I would teach. We can't put that joke, 50% joke is that's not our leadoff hitter. Because we need that first laugh is so important to establish the audience's confidence in you. Relaxation, coming out in a relaxed state, how you walk to the mic. They're watching that. They're feeling your tension level. So in the same thing in a fight between 2 boxers, the first guy to land a punch has a tremendous advantage. The other guy is immediately on the defensive, immediately vulnerable. Now I've got you down. So the way I look at a set is it's not relaxing. I want to get you down and I want to pummel you and then walk off and you never got a chance to hit me. because comedy and show business is, look, either I win or you win. There's no truce. Same thing with television. I knew that TV series, look, either you're going to kill me or I'm going to kill you. And after 9 years, I was still killing that series, but that series would eventually have killed me. It would have either weakened and I would have ended up leaving the air in a position of disadvantage. Well, the show went low ratings. People lost interest. They thought it wasn't so good anymore. It's going to win if you don't leave before it gets that chance. If I stay out on that stage in front of an audience, I'm not a big fan of the long set in comedy. Guys like to go on, like to do an hour and 45 minutes. The audience will win if you stay out there too long. They will win. They will go, you know what? A lot of this stuff's kind of the same. I'm getting tired of the sound of this guy's voice. I didn't really want to be here this long. They're going to win. So I want to go out. I want to get you down. I want to beat the snot out of you and get out of there before you realize that I beat the odds, which is one person beat 2,000 people. That's you're at a disadvantage. So you can't, so it's very martial, the experience.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much for this extraordinary interview. I'm Bob Roth. You're listening to Success Without Stress on Sirius XM Indy 104, and we've been very fortunate to spend this time with a dear friend and strong TM practitioner, Jerry Seinfeld. Thank you.
Thank you. Might be the only comedian I know who's maybe a little better at analogies than I am. He's a great analogizer, and I love to make analogies for everything. A lot of stand-up is analogies. You take a funny situation and you analogize it to something else, and that's a comedic technique. But so the phone charger is pretty tough to beat as an analogy because your phone charger never doesn't work. Unless it's sometimes you haven't got it all the way in the outlet, You look at it and say, how come it didn't charge? It's always a little out of the outlet. And you go, oh, I didn't push it all the way in. And then it always works. And that's the great thing about TM is you never have to wonder, let's say you got a big day. And the night before you think, all right, I'm going to get to sleep early and I don't want to mess around tonight. I'm not going to watch junk TV. I want to get to sleep. I want to get a good night's sleep. But you're still just kind of hoping. You're hoping that you're going to get it, and that you're going to wake up feeling refreshed. And that's the big difference between sleep and TM is TM never doesn't work perfect. And so I get up now and I do TM.
What's your schedule like? You generally?
Well, I get up at 6, usually 6 or 6:15 in the morning because I have kids, and I just like to watch them have breakfast, and because that's just when I think of my childhood, I had breakfast alone most of the time growing up, and I had kids late. I'm 59. I had kids in my late 40s, so so this is like a big deal. It's a big deal to anyone that has kids. So it's just one of the things I like to do is I like to just sit there and I get the paper so that they don't notice me staring at them, But I like watching them eat cereal and I like the little milk dribbling down their chin, and I just like to watch the mind and the body as a thing.
Mm-hmm.
If my body's tired, my mind's tired. If my mind's tired, my body's tired. They're all, the neck is really connecting these two things with a big channel of blood, and there's a lot of exchange between the mind. People say mind and body, and I dismiss that separation completely.
So you meditate now in the morning, and how do you feel, before your morning meditation? Because you had said we had this gala a week or so ago,
Mm-hmm.
and you talked about, at first you were wondering why should you meditate in the morning because why would you want to rest after you?
Yeah, why would you rest after you just got out of bed? But And I said at the thing, Bob likes this, that if you get up out of your bed and you turn around and you look at it, it doesn't look like what happened in there was very restful. It looks like a war just went on in there. And I bet you if you know, people that do sleep research, you know, and you did a time lapse of someone in bed, you've seen these things. You're rolling around and punching pillows and pulling covers, and half of the time you get up in the middle of the night, right? It's a war. Sleep is a war, you know? And so this thing, your night's sleep, was supposed to be this beautiful, restful. You've seen the Sealy, who is it? Sleepland ad, whatever it is. No one's having this experience, okay?
Oh, yeah, when they're sort of like...
the sleep number bed, a pretty girl, and, you know, I don't know, she's never got a blanket on her, you know.
No, that's right, she's on her side.
Such phony baloney stuff, you know, of what sleep is supposed to be. So, but what TM is... You know, most comedians love analogies, and me more than any comedian. Chris Rock.
Life, but because of who Jerry is, he's had a very profound effect in bringing people to the practice. Jerry and I were on Good Morning America last year, hosted by George Stephanopoulos, and who is also a meditator, and you gave a great definition of what meditation was.
Yeah, I said that it's like you have a cell phone, and then somebody gives you the charger. And you go, oh, now this thing, I can get this thing up to 100 anytime I want.
Yeah, fully juiced.
Yeah,
the power of fully juiced.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very easy for me to talk about TM. The way I look at life, basically, is it's exhausting. And... being busy is exhausting. Doing nothing is exhausting. No matter what you do as a human on Earth, it's exhausting. And you need and sleep is a nice rest. Most of us don't get great sleep. Sometimes we do. Now and then, it's very hit and miss. Sleep is hit and miss, and TM is not. So it's this thing that augments your need for rest. And that, I mean, I've always said to people, you know, for the years I would, you know, doing meditation in the middle of the day. And I would always say, to the people that don't do it, I would say, I can't believe you stay up all day.
That's a good,
you know, because I can't do it.
Does it have, is it only physical? The recharging, do you notice anything with your mind, clarity?
I'm a big exerciser as well. I'm a big gym guy. I love to go. I don't love it, but I just believe in it. And I don't separate.
This is Success Without Stress with Bob Roth on Sirius XM Indy 104.
This is Success Without Stress with Bob Roth, and my guest today is Jerry Seinfeld. And you know, you always say a person who doesn't need any introduction and then they go on and give an introduction. I'm not going to. But I am going to say that I don't watch television much, but I have seen your comedians in cars getting coffee multiple times. And I also I don't watch the news, but I do start every morning on jerryseinfeld.com to see those little 10-second, 30-second, 40, 50-second.
Oh,
and,
good. Well,
yeah, and then there's Sam right there, and I call
you.
Sam, and then he sees it. So that's how I start my day.
Well, that's
so
nice. Thank you.
We're ready to rip here.
I'm glad that my products are well received in the Roth house.
They are, very much so. So you've been practicing Transcendental meditation for how long?
Well, 72. So that's 41 years, 42 years. I don't know exactly. It's definitely sometime around 72 or 73. I learned it at Oswego, where I was going to school. I went to State University at Oswego right out of high school, and I don't know how I really got into it. I was pretty investigative person in those days. Still am, I guess. Whenever I hear about something that sounds interesting, I like to explore it. And And I've explored a lot of things, different things, and gotten a lot from all of them. But none of them, nothing compares to what the TM has done for me, and especially lately. You know, I'm doing TM. So I start, in school. I learned this thing in college, and you practice twice a day for 20 minutes. And I immediately stopped doing the one in the morning because I didn't get that one. I couldn't understand why you would get out of bed and rest. And then for 40 years, I would just do the one in the afternoon. And that was a very sustaining thing for me in my life. And we can talk about that, what the life of a comedian is like. And also doing the TV show, which was much more challenging. And then a year ago, Bob, I don't remember.
I think it was out in the Hamptons.
Yeah, I met Bob in the Hamptons, but he was at my house. He was teaching my wife, and he started saying, you should do the one in the morning. And I said, yeah, I know you're supposed to do it in the morning, but I never did. And then I started doing the one in the morning and the one in the morning. And that has really, really changed my life in the past. It's a year, right? It was earlier this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need to actually put this in context. This show is called Success Without Stress. And success is a relative term. A person can be successful. They get the kids to bed without screaming. Mm-hmm. That's an achievement. They get an A on an exam. They host. They're the head writer and everything of a 9-year iconic television show. The question is, does it have to be stressful? And so this show looks at specifically many different approaches for reducing stress, but the common denominator is meditation, and specifically transcendental meditation. And transcendental meditation is, as Jerry knows, a very simple, natural, effortless technique. It's done 20 minutes twice a day, sitting comfortably in a chair with the eyes closed. It allows your body to take a very profound state of rest, wakes up the mind, very energizing, and away you go. It's not a religion. It's not a philosophy. There's no change in lifestyle. Absolutely documented by an enormous amount of scientific research. This conversation with Jerry is because he has had a very profound effect. TM has had a profound effect, as he said, on his own